It's that bus driver guy. The weather is actually got cooler now, but I think a couple of weeks ago we had a heat wave and it was the same old problems again. The buses was literally so hot. 35 degrees. This video is gonna literally show you and explain to you why is it London buses, and maybe the buses in other parts of the UK, United Kingdom, why these buses, for every single year I've been in the job, 12 years now, these buses can't take any temperature above, say, 28. They just won't cool the bus. So why is that? Why is it London buses, and I say also UK buses maybe in general, just not fit to keep the drivers cool on these hot days, these so-called heat waves? I think anything above 28 degrees is known as a heat wave. Why is it? The first thing we need to understand is that TfL, Transport for London, they've acknowledged themselves that the requirements for cooling on a bus is not actually, doesn't have to be AC. It doesn't have to be air conditioning. So what they have is another system on most of our buses, about 90% of our buses. The system what they got is actually called air cooling. I repeat that. The system is not air conditioning, it's air cooling. But what is the difference between the two systems, and why is it air cooling and not sufficient? The main difference is that air conditioning has a refrigerant. It's like a liquid that turns into a gas, and that gas draws the actual heat from the atmosphere, and it continues a cycle. It's got a compressor, it's got evaporator, it's got filters and different things for the air conditioning system. If you drive a car, or you go in a car, or you go into a lovely coach, you'll find that the air that comes out the vents is blowing from the gas that's drawing the cool air, and it literally freezes the air. So the air is actually almost like freezing, and that air can draw the temperature down in the atmosphere. It would draw the temperature out, and that's the big difference. Now the air cooling system, what we have in the buses, that just blows filtered air and circulates it around the bus. Some buses may have methods of cooling that air, but the air is not a refrigerant. It's not a gas. There's not a gas to draw the actual heat from the atmosphere. So the atmospheric temperature, or the ambient temperature of the bus on a air cooling system, which is most of the buses have, the ambient temperature doesn't actually drop. Hardly. It drops probably a couple of degrees. But what actually it does, it blows this kind of cool air on your body. Now that cool air on your body is okay when the temperatures in London or anywhere, when the temperatures are in the like 20s and you put the aircon on, so it was so-called aircon, air cooling, you put the air cooling on and the fans, that actually will feel cold. The air will feel cold because the outside temperature is cool. But once the outside temperature rises above like 26 degrees, then you see the bus starts to struggle to get rid of the heat, and the driver starts struggling, the passengers suffer and everything. Even though some of the buses have got this air cooling system upstairs, it's just not enough. It's just not enough for comfort. And that's one of the main differences. So now we have quite a few buses in my company. We have the Volvo BL65. They have the same cooling systems. We have some Alexander Dennis's 400 Enviros, and we have a BYD Alexander Dennis electric bus. The drivers say that the cooling system for that, I think it's probably more aircon than that. They use batteries, so they don't use the same sort of aircon system you get on a diesel bus. But the diesel, as I said, the diesel buses all have the air cooling, but the electric BYD Alexander Dennis seems to be satisfactory for some of the drivers when it's working. So this year we've had a bit of a breakthrough, because Andy Lord, who is the head of the London Assembly, said that drivers can refuse to take buses out, and TfL was not penalise the companies, because TfL runs the bus service, but the actual different private companies, they have licenses to run different routes, and so TfL has said that they won't penalise the company for losing mileage if a driver refuses to actually go on a bus. So that's a bit of a breakthrough. But what we need is buses that are, when they buy the buses, that they have proper aircon. The proper aircon, not air cooling. Air cooling is cheaper, and I think that's one of the reasons why they buy it. It's cheaper and it's less to maintain. But air conditioning systems have more parts to it, more moving parts, and it's a lot more to maintain, but the actual comfort it gives is so good. The comfort it gives is so good. But the best bus for passengers and bus drivers is the BYD BD11. The BYD BD11 is a fully manufactured bus by the Chinese company BYD, and so it's not like the other bus BYD Alexander Dennis, which is combined with a British company. This BYD, which is pure Chinese, that Chinese manufactured, they've got the system. I've been on a bus, I went on it the other day as a passenger, and I was shocked to find the downstairs was chilled, it was cool, it was nice. I asked the driver about his cab, he was fine. Went upstairs, same thing. Never in 12 years I've been on a job, and even been a Londoner, I've never been on a bus in the summer that's been cool. Never. They've got a system that's kind of, it's like a double system integrated together. So the system that cools the batteries, remember it's an electric bus, the system that cools the batteries, that's combined with another system, and it's all computerized, and it just keeps the temperature in the bus just perfect. Because when I went on it, I couldn't believe how perfect it was. I just felt just right. It wasn't too cold and it wasn't too hot. So TfL can do it, but what it is, they've got to spend more money, and first of all they have to have the willingness to sort of say bus drivers need a better system. Not only that, the passengers need a better system, but it's the willingness to spend that money, and for them to put themselves in the shoes of the bus drivers. A lot of people are in offices, and those offices are air conditioned most of the time. Even if it's not built air conditioned, they will bring in air conditioning machines into the office to give them a nice cool, because they're sitting in the office all day doing the paperwork. You don't want to be sitting in the heat. But nobody would want to sit in the 36 to 38 degrees. Sometimes some bus drivers have recorded 40 degrees. 40 degrees, you're talking about 40 degrees centigrade, we're talking about C, 40 degrees C in the cab with a lot of humidity.
So there you have it. That's the main reason why there is a difference in the buses, air cooling versus air conditioning, and we have mainly air cooling systems. Another thing I wanted to add was the fact that in the diesel buses there's also engine heat and the heat from the windows that actually increase the temperature, and that's another reason why temperatures are high, and the actual air cooling systems just can't dissipate the heat fast enough.